Welcome to Tabletop Gaming Guild. Today we'll be taking a look at my used game sale haul, and I would like to thank Diversions for hosting their annual game sale and allowing us to get some hard to find games. Without further ado, here's those games. So I picked up a number of games. Some of them, like this one, are extremely obscure, but don't worry, there'll be some popular titles as well. Marry Mr. Darcy is by Eric Sevigny, and it's somewhat of a problematic theme in that you play a female trying to improve herself in order to marry well. But I hear it's a good game and it treats the subject well, and this is a period piece, so it makes sense in that period. That unfortunately was the best that many women could hope for in that period of time. Next, we have a farming game that wasn't designed by Uwe Rosenberg. That's Fields of Green. Now, Fields of Green was designed by Vangelis Bagatakis, who was probably best known for Among the Stars or Kitchen Rush. But basically, this is a tile-laying, engine-building game where you're building a farm and building your industry around the farm. Next, we have a roller coaster tycoon-style game called Steam Park. Designed by Aureliano Bonafino, Lorenzo Silva, Lorenzo Tucci Sorrentino. And this is a game where you are building amusement park rides, stands, concessions, and trying to attract guests, which happen to be robots. Oddly enough, these robots still need toilets, and they leave dirt that needs to be cleaned up. But it sounds like an interesting game that has some slightly 3D elements. Innovation is designed by Carl Chudik, and fans of our show may recognize him as one of the co-creators of Glory to Rome. And Innovation, despite being generally a popular, well-rated game, is hard to find, at least for the base game. But that does seem to be a theme for Carl Chudik games. And by the way, it's a tech tree building card game that looks like it has a decent helping of Take That elements. It looks like a pared down version of Glory to Rome. London by Martin Wallace is about rebuilding the city of London after the Great Fire of 1666. A nice bonus from these used game sales is every once in a while you get promos that you weren't expecting, or in this case, this is a signed copy from a limited print run. While board game designer signatures may not fetch a huge price tag, it's still a nice little discovery. Like the City of London, we're getting a little crowded here. Let's clear off and get ready for the next batch of game. For the next batch, we're starting to get into the better known games such as Broom Service by Alexander Pfister and Andreas Pelikan. As you can see, in 2015 this won Critics' Choice in the Kenner Spiel, which, if you don't know, this is a pretty big award for family weight games. And in Broom Service, you are running a potion delivery service where you can deliver goods in a safe manner, or be brave, but risk somebody stealing your action away from you. Tashkala, Arena of Legend by Vlada Shavadl. This game you may not have heard of, but you most certainly have heard of the designer. Famous for games like Mage Knight, Through the Ages, Galaxy Trucker, and Codenames. Tashkala is an abstract strategy game enhanced by cards that give you powers if you arrange the units on the board in specific formations. Takanoko is a family weight game designed by Antoine Bauza, in which you are growing a garden, planting bamboo, and controlling a panda to eat that bamboo, trying to make sets or specific formations on the board to get bonus points. This is a game that a lot of children appreciate, largely because of the cute little panda mini, but there's also a solid game behind it. Next, we have a game that, if you're not big into Kickstarter, you may never have heard of, and that is Dark Moon by Evan Derrick. Dark Moon is a deduction game where part of your crew has become infected by an alien parasite and is trying to prevent you from ever leaving. Dark Moon was originally designed as a shorter version of Battlestar Galactica, and if you are a fan of Battlestar Galactica, you know how hard that game is to get to the table because of its length and the difficulty of teaching. Hopefully, this game fixes that as intended. Well, let's clear this off. We are about halfway through, so we want to keep on moving. Vault Wars by Jonathan Gilmour and Ben Harkins is basically Storage Wars the game. A bunch of adventurers have stored their loot in your vault and gone off on more adventures to never return. And you have to auction off the contents of the vault that may be completely full of junk by giving tantalizing glimpses of what could be inside. Tang Garden by Francesco Testini and Pierluca Zizza is a really beautiful game with art by Matthew Mizak. Tang Garden is a tile-laying game in which you'll be adding landscapes and three-dimensional decorations such as gazebos and trees to make a beautiful garden. It looks like a well-designed, lightly competitive game augmented by extremely high-quality components. The kind of game that if you have it at your table at a convention, people will be stopping to ask you what it is. We go from the serene and beautiful to the contentious and tumultuous in the romance simulator Fog of Love by Jacob Jaskov. In this game, you are reminded that this couple is not meant to represent you. You are simulating an unrelated couple throughout their relationship, in every aspect from going to IKEA to having a child. In researching this game, I frequently have come across warnings to be careful playing this with a significant other because some of the incidents can strike a little close to home, so it makes sense to be a little cautious, and some people have even recommended playing this with anybody except your significant other. Combo Fighter by Oskar Johansson replicates Street Fighter in a card game. Now, I generally do not like collectible card games because I do not want to constantly invest in new cards, but this one changes that up by giving you pre-built decks. If you buy one of these packs, that's all you ever really need, but you can buy extra packs to get alternate characters. Well, I'm excited about all the games I've shown you so far. Now we're getting into the really big finds. This 51st State Master Set by Agnieszka Chefercheks and Portal Games is a very hard game to find, as it's largely been replaced by Imperial Settlers. Imperial Settlers does a lot of the same things in a more streamlined fashion, however, I still prefer 51st State. If you want to find out more about 51st State, you can check out our playthrough on this channel. Stop Thief, designed by Rob Davio, Robert Doyle, Justin Jacobson, and published by Restoration Games, I bought mainly on the strength of the names attached to it. Both Rob Davio and Restoration Games have appeared on many of my top 10 lists, including my top 10s of all time. Restoration Game does specialize in taking older games and revitalizing them with major improvements and streamlining. Stop Thief is an app-assisted game in which you are trying to track down a criminal and are given audio hints as to where they are. Abyss by Bruno Cathala and Charles Chevalier has even seemed to excite my camera. 1 second while I fix the lighting. That should be a little better. I'll keep working on it. But anyways, Abyss is a game I was initially put off by with its sales gimmick of having various possible covers you can get, which all do look really nice. I honestly do not know too much about Abyss, but I've been told by so many people that I should get it, or at least play it, but I decided to pick it up. The Lord of the Rings Journey to the Middle Earth by Nathan I. Hadjack and Grace Holdinghouse is a game that's been favorably compared to Mansions of Madness. This is a app-driven game where you can explore and adventure in a large landscape. From what I hear, whether you prefer Mansions of Madness or Journeys on the Middle Earth is a matter of personal taste. While I'm personally most excited about Lord of the Rings, a lot of viewers may be really excited about Marvel United. Marvel United is designed by Andrea Chiarviesio and Eric M. Lang. That's right, it's an Eric Lang game that our resident fanboy James does not have yet. Marvel United is a family-weight cooperative card game in which you'll be resolving incidents, fighting off villains, to ultimately take down the Superbad. Now this is the retail version, so while it still has a fair number of heroes you can play as, the Kickstarter had a huge, ridiculous number. And on top of that, there is currently on Kickstarter X-Men United, so you can play as the X-Men! And I believe the two games can be combined. Well, thank you for watching. Please join us again for more unboxings, reviews, previews, and playthroughs.